It's this beautiful and large circular motif that features picot stitches on the outsides and 3 loops in the middle. On this video, I'm going to teach you how to do the Tristar motif. I'm going to be using a 4mm hook and some acrylic yarn size 4. Okay, you're going to start with a slip knot, and for row 1, we're going to start with a chain 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And now we're going to do a slip stitch into the first chain that you made. So we insert our hook into that first chain, grab the yarn, and pull through to close. Now we're going to chain 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And you're going to do a slip stitch into the same chain as the last slip stitch. So the same chain that you slip stitch into, or the first chain of that chain 10 you started with, into there, a slip stitch. And we're going to do that one more time. So we're going to chain 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And do a slip stitch into the same chain that you just did a slip stitch into. And this is going to form your 3 loops that you want. So here we have it. That's the 3 loops. And this here is the end of row 1. So now for row 2, we're going to chain 1. And then into the next chain 9 space, you're going to work the following. You're going to work 2 single crochets. That's 1 and 2. Then you want 1 half double crochet. Then you want 11 double crochets. So here is 1, 2, 3. I'm going to do a total of 11 double crochets off camera. I'll see you when I'm done. Okay, I just finished the 11th double crochet. So now continuing the repeat into the same loop, you're going to do 1 half double crochet. And then 2 single crochets. So here is 1 and 2. That's the repeat we're going to do around the loop. Now we're going to chain 1 and then do a slip stitch into the same chain as the slip stitches of the previous round. So kind of the center of this, of the loops, into there, do a slip stitch. And now we want to repeat this 2 more times around. So I'm just going to verbalize it. The repeat starts at a chain 1, and then working into the next chain 9 loop, you're going to work 2 single crochets, 1 half double crochet, 11 double crochets, 1 half double crochet, 2 single crochets. After that, you're going to chain 1 and do a slip stitch into the center of the loops. So do this twice around, and I'll see you when you're done. Okay, I just did my final loop repetition, finishing off with that chain 1 and slip stitch into the center. And that there is the end of row 2. Now for row 3, we're going to start by doing a slip stitch into each of the first 9 stitches of the first loop. So this is our first loop, the one to your left. You want to do 1 slip stitch into each of the next 9 stitches. So here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And as you can see, this is going to bring you kind of to the center of the loop. So from this point, we're going to work 16 chains. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. So that's our chain 16. Now we're going to skip the first 8 stitches of the next loop. So basically skipping the half of the first loop and also half of the next loop. And then you're going to do a slip stitch into the next double crochet. So let me see here. We're going to skip the 2 single crochets. So skip 1, 2, then the half double crochet, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, into the 9th stitch, which is this one here. Into there, we want to do a slip stitch. And that we're kind of connecting those loops there. We want to do that again 2 more times. So we're going to chain 16 and then skip the second half of this loop, the first half of the next, do a slip stitch. Then you're going to chain 16 and then just finish off with a slip stitch. Finish off with a slip stitch into the same stitch that we started the chain 16 on. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do my final chain 16 and I'll meet you when I'm there. Okay, this is my last chain 16 here. And now to finish off row 3, we're just going to do a slip stitch into the same stitch that we started the chain 16, the first chain 16 from. So on top of that double crochet, you insert your hook and do a slip stitch. And this here is the end of row 3. Now for row 4, we're going to chain 1. And you want to do 1 single crochet into the same double crochet as the last slip stitch. So into the same stitch here, just a single crochet. And now into the chain 16 space, you want to work 19 single crochets. So around the chain space, we're going to do 19 single crochets. That's 2, 3, 4. I'm going to do a total of 19 off camera and I'll see you when I'm done. Okay, I just did my 19 single crochets here. And so now we want to do a single crochet into the same double crochet as the slip stitch of the previous row. So into that double crochet, insert your hook and just do a single crochet. And this is what we want to do all the way around. We're going to do 19 single crochets around the chain space and then 1 single crochet into the double crochet of the 2 rows ago where the slip stitch is. So I'm going to do this all the way around and I'll see you when I'm done. Okay, I just did my last 19 single crochets around the chain space. So now to finish off this row, we're not going to do that last single crochet because you already have it. Instead, you're just going to do a slip stitch into the first single crochet of the row. You insert your hook into it, grab the yarn and pull through to close with a slip stitch. And this here is the end of row 4. Now I'm actually running out of this color yarn. I'm going to swap to a different color. You can go ahead and continue the whole tutorial with the same color if you have it. You're not supposed to change color, but I'm running out of it. So I'm going to do that and I'll see you when my new color is attached. Okay. Now for row 5, we're going to start with a chain 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. This chain 8 counts as a double crochet and a chain 5. So now we're going to skip the next 3 stitches. So the next 3 single crochets. 1, 2, 3. And then we want to do 1 double crochet into the next. So into the next stitch, 1 double crochet. Then you're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then do, skip the next 3 stitches. And then do 1 double crochet into the next. And that is the repeat we want all the way around. We chain 5, skip 3 stitches, and then do 1 double crochet into the next. So let's do that all the way around and I'll see you when you're done. Okay, so at the end here, you're going to finish off with your chain 5. And then to finish off this row, we're going to do a slip stitch into the third of the chain 8 that you started with. So you can count from bottom to top. We count 1, 2, 3. Into that third chain, insert your hook, grab the yarn and pull through to close. And this here is the end of row 5. Now row 6, we're going to start it by doing a slip stitch into the first chain 3 of the first chain 5 space. So, the third chain is what I meant. So we're going to skip 1 and 2. Into that third chain, you're going to do a slip stitch. And now we're going to chain 1 and then do 4 single crochets into the first chain space. So into that chain space that you're in, 4 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we want to do 7 single crochets into each of the next 14 space. So into the next chain space here, we're going to do 7 single crochets. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And this is what we want to do all the way around. Into each of the chain spaces, you want to do 7 single crochets. So do that all the way around. I'll see you when you're almost done. Okay, I just finished my last 7 single crochets into the last chain space, but we want to complete the first one that we started with. So we actually want to do 3 single crochets into this first chain space here. So we are going to go into it and do 1, 2, and 3. And now because you started with 4 plus these 3, you now have 7 here. So you can finish off this row by doing a slip stitch into the first single crochet of the row. So first single crochet, insert your hook, grab the yarn and pull through to close. And this here is the end of row 6. Now for row 7, we're going to start with a chain 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We're going to skip 6 single crochets and then do a slip stitch into the next. So we're skipping 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 into the next, just a slip stitch. Do that again, chain 6. Skip 6 stitches. So skip 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 into the next, do a slip stitch. And this is what we want to do all the way around. Do that and I'll see you when you're done. Okay, at the end of the row here, we're going to finish off with a chain 6. And now we just want to do a slip stitch into the same single crochet as the last row. So we started with the chain 6 here. Basically where that chain 6 starts, into that single crochet, we want to do a slip stitch. So we find it, insert our hook, and just complete this slip stitch. And this here is the end of row 7. Now we're going to move on to our last row, row 8. For it, we're going to chain 1. And then into each of the chain 6 spaces, we're going to work 2 single crochets. So 1, 2. Then 1 picot stitch. For a picot stitch, we're going to do a chain 3. So 1, 2, 3. And then do a slip stitch into the first of that chain 3 that you just did. Insert your hook into that chain and do a slip stitch. And then you want to do a 2 single crochets. So 1 and 2. And we're going to repeat that 3 times. So the repeat starts at the picot and then 2 single crochets. And you want that combination 3 times. So let me just finish this chain space with you and I'll do it twice so you can understand what I'm trying to say here. So we go back to the beginning of the repeat with a picot stitch. And this is going to be our second repetition. So picot stitch is chain 3, and then we do a slip stitch into the first of the chains that you made. Insert your hook into it, grab the yarn and pull through to close. Then you want 2 single crochets. So that's 1 and 2. So that's our second repetition. We're going to do the third one with a picot stitch, chain 3, insert your hook into the first chain and do a slip stitch. And then 2 single crochets. So 1 and 2. And that's the repetition that you want into each of the chain 6 spaces. Essentially, it starts with a 2 single crochet and then a repeat of a picot stitch and 2 single crochet 3 times. So you've got picot, 2 single crochets, picot, 2 single crochets. So we're going to do that one more time together. To the next chain 6 space, I want to insert and do 2 single crochets. And then my repeat of picot and 2 single crochets 3 times. So the picot is a chain 3. And now a slip stitch into that first chain. And then 2 single crochets. That's 1 and 2. And I want that 3 times, so let's do that 2 more times. Picot. And then 2 single crochets. Picot. And then 2 single crochets. And there we go. You've got basically those 3 picot stitches and 2 single crochets in between on the right, in the middle, and on the left. This is what we want to do all the way around. Once you're done, you're just going to do a slip stitch into the first of the single crochet, the first single crochet off the row. Cut off your yarn and thread your ends through. Okay, here we have it. Look how freaking stunning. This one is so beautiful. Kind of reminds me of like a labyrinth or just something out of like a fairy tale almost. The edges, because of the picot stitches, look like branches. So it looks like, I don't know, gardeny, but also fairy tale-y. I don't really know how to describe this, but it is so stunning. You can see the difference. Normally you should just use one color for this, but I ran out of the red yarn. So I just used two, and I feel like that looks really cool too. Adding this center kind of just accentuates the loops, and then it's just like an open circle that grows out, and yeah, it looks just like a garden. Real pretty. Hey, while you're at it, why don't you just subscribe to my channel? Just do it.